Welcome everybody, this is Jason and the name of this workshop is A Light in the Darkness. This is part 2. We built the functional table lamp last week and this week we're going to build the accessory object that spawns in the Sims hand. Let's review last week's workshop. What are Decorgal-style accessories? Do we remember?
Aren't they accessories that spawn into Sims hands?
Yes, they are. T- in technical terms, it's an object. It's something that, uh, it's like a milk carton or bird watching binoculars that can actually be used as a recolorable object. And then what are the advantages of using Decorgal style accessories over body shop accessories?
Um, if I recall correctly, I think you had said when you put like objects as Decorgal style accessories, they don't clutter your accessories tab in Body Shop, and you can kind of clear that out and just use this method, so it's just cleaner.
That is true. They don't appear in Body Shop, but you can. What's cool about these is, as opposed to a Body Shop accessory, you can just do the one click action. So you click the box or you click the lamp object once, and it poses the Sim's hand and spawns the accessory at the same time. Also, it's recolorable. You just use the design or the design tool or the swatch tool as you would with any other object. Yeah, you would have to enable move objects on first because it spawns in the Sim's hand, but it's the same basic principle. So you can, if you have 50 recolors for your base object, and you configure it correctly, you have 50 recolors for the accessory as well, which is really handy. And finally, what are the disadvantages of using Decorgal style accessories over regular body shop accessories? For one, they only spawn in the hand slot. So you can only the right or left hand are the slots that you can put the accessory in. Second, the range of motion is a little bit more limited. So you have to really you don't get to see exactly how the accessory is going to line with the Sim skeleton. You just have to wiggle the accessory around. It takes a lot of trial and error to get it right, so they are a little bit more time consuming. Let's move on to building the accessory mesh. So we have built the base lamp. We did that last week, and I have enabled the recolors on that. I shared that in the workshop post. We're going to continue with the handheld accessory. So we're going to take the extracted GMDC from the base object and import it into Milkshape over the accessory template that I provided in the workshop thread. Before we dive too deeply into this, let's open the base lamp, the base flashlight in SimPE. We go to the GMDC in the resource list. We go to the GMDC in the resource tree. We make sure all 5 of these components are selected. Click on export. And I'm just going to say that right over rugged flashlight base, but you can name your object whatever you want. I'm going to open the template flashlight, the one it's called Midnight security flashlight holdable. And I don't recall how this is put together, so we're going to have a quick look. You can see it's in a different position from the base flashlight. So this is why we're exporting this, so that we have an idea of where that goes. We don't need bulb. I think it's just the case subset. We'll just leave it named case, and we only export the case component, and we'll call this just guide or something. Now we'll go import wavefront object, and let's go to the workshop folder, import guide. Okay, so we can see where the base flashlight is. We can see roughly where the buttons need to be. And then we go import rugged flashlight base. And you can see it's in a completely different position, so we need to scoot that around. Let's go Control A to select all. And then let's move to the top of the list where it says case and unselect that, as that one needs to remain in its original position. Now, go to the Model tab and rotate. Let's just rotate that over roughly like that. We'll go to Move. Okay, that is sort of where it needs to be, but we need to fine tune it some. Let's do the top viewport. We're just rotating a little bit, and then we use Move to scoot that over like that. It's not rotated perfectly, so we're going to rotate it again. Are the buttons roughly in the same spot? No, they are not. Let's rotate this viewport once more. And okay, no, we need to scoot that down a little. A little bit of fine tuning today to get in your Milkshape practice if you need it. And I think we're good to go. We want to make sure that the bottom of the rugged flashlight lines up roughly with the bottom of the security flashlight, so that when it spawns in the Sim's hand, it's going to be in the right position. This is a trick. If you're making a set of Decorgal-style accessories and you don't know where to start, try extracting accessories from another set that work approximately or are in the approximate position, and use the approximate overlay of the object that you want to create. So it's not perfect, but scoot that back a little bit. I think we're going to have to live with that. Let's delete case, and you can see because we rotated it, the shading is all funky. What we do here, face, smooth all, and that fixes our shading. Now we go export as a wavefront, and it's working in a different folder because I didn't go to this folder. Okay, so back to the workshop folder. We call this I'm going to call it rugged flashlight hand, but you can name it whatever you'd like to. to build the accessory. We're going to clone the accessory from the template provided, replace the GMDC. In the shape, we copy the name of the base, glass, bulb, and beam subsets from the SHPE of the lamp object. In the GMND, we go to the TS Materials Mesh Name block. We paste the name of the crest from the base object over the base string. Then, in the OBJD, we give the accessory NuGet, and we need to notate this for later. Let's open our trusty notepad. Now, we're done with the accessory for now. Let's open the base object. We open Rugged Flashlight Workshop once again. Go to the shape. We grab the first subset, which is base. We paste that there. We have an issue with glow, but we'll come back to that later, because here it says no, but we don't need the no material. Copy bulb. Wait, no, bulb is different too, because we want the bulb on material. Reflective is going to remain the same, so we just paste that there. Glass. We can paste that there. Okay, so let's get the missing materials. To do that, we go to the STR, material names, and we want glow lit and bulb lit. When the flashlight spawns in the Sim's hand, we want it to be on, so we need the materials that are by default off in the SHPE. That's what we need to copy up from here. Okay, and I think we're done here for now. We go to Object Workshop, want to open. Let's grab this template, Midnight at the Brig Security Tools Security Flashlight. Go next, and it doesn't super matter what you call it. You can call it anything, because you're not even going to see this until you hover over with the design tool. Let's give it a unique scene graph name. Workshop Flashlight Holdable. Give that a quick update. Click on OK. And we'll call this Rugged Flashlight Holdable. Click yes, and we have cloned that. The object that we just cloned, we go to the GMDC, and let's just delete everything. Go to the Groups tab and just delete all of the groups. Go back here, click the Import button, and we're going to click that accessory that we just created in Milkshape. So, Rugged Flashlight Hand. We're adding all of these new groups, so we don't need to mess with this at all. We just click the OK. Click the Preview button to see what it looks like. Looks pretty good. We commit and save the GMDC. Now, let's go to the first of all, we've got bulb named here. We just copy this entire string, go to bulb where it says material definition file, we just paste over that line of text. Next is glass. We grab glass, we paste over that line of text. Reflective. We don't have case. What we have is base. So let's copy base, paste that just like so, and rename the subset name into base. And finally glow. We grab glow, we paste glow over, and then we can just delete that last line. Let's keep it clean. Let's go to the GMND. The GMND, in the drop down here, first let's select design mode enabled, and this has case as the named recolorable subset. We don't want case, we want base. Let's go to the other item in the drop down, TS materials mesh name. This is telling it, okay, for the recolorable subset, where am I pulling the materials from? And this is the object's crest. So we want to copy everything up to the underscore, just like so. We come back over here, we paste that there, but again, the name of the recolorable subset is base, so we need to change that to base.
I have a question.
Yes.
It says, I think you're in the shape. It says base A. Is that gonna mix it up from base, or is that supposed to be base A?
No. Let me go back and explain that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at the shape. The reason why it's base A here, if you look at the base object, there are three materials. There's base A, base B, base C. They're all the different colors of the flashlight. So here, what the shape is looking for is the TXMT. So we're copying the entire TXMT string just like this.
Okay.
So when it creates a new object, by default, it's going to pull the base A material, which I believe is green.
Okay.
But the GMND, when you slave an object, it's a little bit different. What this block does, TS design mode enabled, it names the recolorable subset. What this block does, TS materials mesh name, it tells you what crest you're going to reference. Right, so it's not looking for the string of the TXMT, it's looking for the string of the crest, the OBJD. Instead of workshop flashlight base, now we're calling it workshop flashlight holdable. I just notate on my GUIDs in my spreadsheet, I just notate what each GUID goes to so I can reference it later. I'm just going to copy that and paste that over for now. There are no mmats to update, so we just commit. We don't really need to set a price because it's just a spawnable thing that appears in the Sims hand. Let's grab the GUID here and paste it to our notepad because we're going to need to reference that later. Okay? And that is it for the accessory object. Articulating the overlay. Now we get a little bit more into Milkshape. We need to articulate the arm overlay. A static pose that only locks selected joints, not the entire skeleton. Why do we need this? Well, okay, so you've got a security guard holding a flashlight for some reason. You don't want to lock the entire skeleton into a pose. You just want to lock his arm in position so that it's not waving all around as he walks. How do we do that? We open an animation skeleton in Milkshape. We select animate and uncheck operate on selected joints only. Then we select keyframe, or I'm sorry, animate set keyframe, animate delete keyframe, then animate check operate on selected joints only. So we've deleted the keyframe for the full skeleton here, and we're only going to articulate on the joints that we operate on. We articulate the joints in the overlay just as we would if we were making a pose, but it's not as complicated. Make sure to include the clavicle, bicep, and wrist joints. This is important. Then we go animate, set keyframe, and we save the file in Milkshape. Let's do that now. I've already included in the pose thread a shouting overlay and a pointing overlay, which are things that you would do if you had a flashlight in your hand. Let's not save this. We go to the desktop, we go to Workshape, and we just want to open AFN in base. This is an animation skeleton. Go Control Shift A to deselect all. Before we do anything, we need to go import wavefront, and let's grab this hand object. I will explain that a bit later. We click on the animation button down here in the lower right. We're now in animation mode. Now animate, uncheck operate on selected joints only. Then set keyframe. Then delete keyframe. Then animate, and we recheck operate on selected joints only. Now in the front viewport, I'm going to scoot up here so you can see roughly what's going on. So we have a hand, we have the Sims original hand position, and we just want to use this template to tell us roughly where the fingers and thumb need to be. Let's start with the right thumb 0. Go to the model tab, make sure that we're rotating, and select this button here, the one that says local. Then in my 3D viewport, I try to get a closer view of what's going on. So on the side viewport, this is where we're doing the rotating at first. So we move that roughly into position. And then in the top viewport, no, that's not it. Sorry, the front viewport, we just roll that thumb back a little. It doesn't have to be perfect because the flashlight is probably going to be obscuring it anyway, but let's try to get it fairly close. Now, let's select thumb 1, and we rotate it. This one we rotate from the top viewport, and thumb 2. Okay, the thumb is pretty much where we need to be. Let's select the index finger. And that's from the front viewport. We just kind of scoot it down a little bit. Select right index 1. Do the same thing. Then we move on to the mid joint. You'll notice that there are only 3 finger joints and 4 fingers, so it's kind of, results may vary.
Yeah, it's like the ring fingers attached to like the pinky.
The ring finger is split between mid and pinky. So we just scoot down roughly, and then let's hide the hand so that we can get a good look on it, at it on its own. I think that's just a little bit closed a little bit too tightly, because this is a slightly thicker flashlight, so I think we do need the fingers to be a little bit more open. Just scoot.
I had a question. When you came into this, you did the animate, delete, or add or set keyframe and delete keyframe. What did that accomplish? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, if you leave the keyframe as is, when you go to set it, it's going to lock all of the joints. If you're creating an animation overlay, that is an animation, or in this case a static pose that only plays on certain joints, you need to delete the original keyframe first.
Okay. So when you set it again, it only changes the ones you have changed, right? That's what that is.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. I mean, it's kind of important to this workshop, but I think in October, I'm going to do just 4 back-to-back workshops about posing. It's just going to be a whole month of posing workshops.
A pose extravaganza. Yeah, because
Yes.
I do have like some background in posing, um, but like I didn't know that about the keyframes. That's why I was curious because I've never had to delete a keyframe before, but I've also never made an overlay for like one body part before, so that's why I was curious.
Yep. So this one, what it's going to do is just lock from the clavicle down. And let's just, aside from the hand, all I did was just bend the shoulder down a little bit and move the forearm forward. But we need to lock all of the additional joints, the clavicle, the bicep, and in this case the hand, because I haven't moved the hand at all. So we just go rotate and pick your favorite axis, and I just go like a ridiculous amount of zeros and then a 1 at the end. It's just going to nudge it a little tiny bit, but what that does is when you set your keyframe, it's going to lock that joint. Let's double click on the bicep, back to rotate it just a tiny bit. Then we do the same thing with the wrist and the hand. Now, animate, set keyframe, and like magic, it locks everything from the collarbone to the fingertips. And it just leaves the rest of the skeleton alone. So your sim can walk, your sim can run, skip, whatever, while holding the flashlight, and it just locks those selected joints in place. Let's save that as a Milkshape file so we don't lose it. And of course it's in the wrong place. And I'm just going to call that hold overlay. While we're here in Milkshape, let's go ahead and export all 3 overlays. We go export, Sims 2 Animish, Anim Exporter version 1.0.1, and I'm just going to call that flashlight hold. We don't mess with anything here, we just export. And let's move on to the next one. We do the point overlay. And it's just the sim pointing. Actually, we could lock the clavicle on. Well, no, let's not and say we did. It doesn't super matter. Export that as an Animish, and we're going to go flashlight point. Leave everything as it is, just export. And then shout. Now this one, in addition, it locks the head. Which is, I mean, it makes sense. If you're shouting, you don't want the head to be bobbing up and down. export the animesh, and we'll call that flashlight shout.
I had a question. So these other two overlays, you had pre-made them?
Yes, yes, they were.
Okay.
These were like a previous. I think it was a light in the darkness. Actually, they were. Yeah, it seemed handy to have these pointing and shouting
Uh-huh.
overlays because there are things that you do when you're searching for someone in the dark.
True. So is she or is the model supposed to be holding the flashlight with the shout and point, or is it just the first one they're supposed to be holding the flashlight?
Uh, well, we will get into that when
Okay.
we configure the behaves and the anims and all that good stuff. The final step includes importing and enabling the anims, configuring a behave to spawn the flashlight and apply the arm overlay, and hooking it all up in the T-tab. So to add the anims, we click anywhere in the resource list and select Add from the drop-down. In the pop-up, we select All Files in the lower right drop-down, and then select 5AN and Add. Then we go to the Resource tab. It's going there when you first import the resources, are going to appear as user-defined. We shift select the 3 anims that we import, and we change that type to anim. Then in the plugin view, for each anim, we're clicking on the fixed TGI link to make sure that a unique instance is assigned to the anim. Then we copy the anim names. Let's do that now. Open the base flashlight. You can see there's already an anim here. I don't want that. I want to add my own. We click anywhere in the resource list and add. And then here in this drop down, we select all files. We're only going to grab the 5 ANs. So we just shift select those 3. And you can see that it immediately adds them as user defined. We click those 3 user defined in the resource tree. Then we shift select them in the resource list. We go to the resource tab and animation resource. Just like that, you can see that it updates the type. What we need now is to give them each a unique instance. So one way to do that without doing a fix integrity operation is just fix TGI. And you can see that it updates the instance high and instance values of that resource. We do that for each of the anims. If I'm doing a lot of these, I will just fix integrity because it's faster. Okay, we've got the anim names. Now, let's go back and we grab everything. We select the first anim and we grab everything before the underscore and just copy it. Then back to our trusty notepad. And we paste it. Let's do that once again here. And a third time here. We just copy everything before the underscore, paste it there. And that's the anims. We go to string 81. On line 0, we paste the name of the overlay, and then because we're doing 3 here, we're going to paste all 3. We go to text list or str. Go to 81 where it says anims poses, and we can see that there's something already here. But what we're going to do, just grab the let's do hold. Hold should be on line 1. Go hold, and then we'll do point, and then we'll do shout. commit, save, and we're done with the STR. Now we go and select BHAV10E1. It's called left-hand underscore pers5 underscore add. On line 0, we're to go create new object, or it's the create new object instance. We add the accessories GUID. The operands hold the data backwards. That is, the first box holds 7th and 8th characters, the second box the 5th and 6th, the third box holds the 3rd and 4th, and the fourth box holds the 1st and 2nd. We double check behave 1007 to make sure that the new animation is included in the stop animations. Then we edit the table strings in TTAS. And in the T-tab, we make sure that the carry and put down interactions correspond to the correct behaves. This is create the new object instance. So remember that GUID that we copied to our notepad? So you can see this has a different GUID. Ours is, DF300873. So the last the last two characters here are 7-3. Let's make that a 7-3. Then we tab over to the next operand box. And the next two are 08. So make those 08. And DF30 should remain the same, yeah? Okay. Let's keep that the same. This is going to spawn the object into the Sims hand slot. Where is it? Slot 9, that is the right hand. Okay, so we have the expression to start a pose. Then we have the animate overlay itself, which is, it applies the animation skeleton to the sim. And then we have this create new object. I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call it hold flashlight basic in the file name, just so that I don't lose track of it. Now here, this is just going to remove the stack object, so whatever is stacked in the Sim slot 9 is going to remove that. That's fine. What we need to do here is add 2 command lines to stop the other 2 animations. We go down to the last command line of remove objects left. This should be right because it's the right hand slot. We'll grab that command line, and then we want to go insert true twice. Okay, so now we've got flashlight hold. We need to change this operand. In the first line that we added, we need to change that, the first operand box, to 01. Then the second one, we need to change that to 02. So what's going to happen when you select this behave is going to remove the object and stop all of the animations. Now let's clone hold flashlight basic. Change the resource number to 1F. And And let's select animate overlay flashlight hold, insert true, and you see it just creates a new command line right there. Want to make this 0, 1. Okay, so the issue is that the flashlight, the arm overlay is articulated with the right arm. The point and shout overlays are also articulated with the right arm. So what do we do in this case? We go to the pop-up wizard and uncheck flipped. Let's give this a different name. Hold flashlight point. Then we have to go back to basic, select the animation command, and then make sure, click on the wizard button here and make sure that flipped is unchecked. So we have.
Does it check flipped by default?
It shouldn't be checked. I don't know why.
Oh.
That is because this was for the left hand for some reason. I don't know why that is. This should spawn in the same as right hand. So yeah, I'm just a little bit puzzled on that.
Was the template made for left hand? Maybe.
Well,
What's the animation?
We're about to find out.
Okay.
I thought I was correct, but
No.
stranger things have happened. See, the issue is that all three overlays are articulated with the same arm, so the hold needs to be flipped. However, if they're not, it's not a huge deal. We just come back and edit the instruction wizard. We flip, hold, and unflip the other one. So we're fine either way. Let's clone this. And this is going to be the shout overlay. So here we select line 2, command line 2. The first operand box, we change that from 1 to 2, and that should be shout. Go to the resource tab and give that a new resource value. And when we save that, that should be at the bottom. So what we did, we fixed, we just did a bunch of BHAV editing. We fixed the GID here. So we're referencing the flashlight accessory that we created. And then here it adds the flashlight as well as locks the overlay in place. And then we did the same thing here, except we added a new overlay. So we're playing 2 overlays on the skeleton and spawning the object into the slot. And then finally, for remove objects, all we did was make sure that all of the animations are added to the stop queue.
When you put like 0, 2 in the operands, like how is it referencing? Is that from the T tab or?
No, not from the T tab, from the STR. Let me show you.
Oh.
Let's go to point. I have 2 points. Why? Because I didn't rename this one. This one is shout.
Okay.
So we rename the file name. So let me show you what we're looking at. We pull up the instruction wizard, and this is referencing STR number 81. And 0, 0 here, it says, you can see that line 0 is flashlight hold. And then if we look at shout in the instruction wizard, it's showing us the same string, but line 2. Yes?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. The T tab. So we only have carry here. We need to add two lines to the T tab because we're adding 2 animations. And I'm just going to call this one carry and point. And let's call this other one carry and shout. Commit, save, and that's the T tab. Or sorry, the T task. Now we select the T tab, which is the table that puts everything together. We go to, so we have turn on and turn off. That works like just a regular old light. Carry is referencing hold flashlight basic. That is the one that it plays the one overlay and it adds the object to the hand. Put down, it removes the object from the hand and then it stops all of the animations that are playing on the sim. Let's add. So we select carry. We use the add button here. Then we select the new entry that we just created. Let's change the pi string ID to carry and point. And then we select the carry and point behave. So hold flashlight point, just like that. We click add once more. And if we know that they're in order, an easy way to do this is just type the number. So we go back, we backspace, and then we go 2. So we're now referencing line 12 of the T-task. And we backspace here and 20. So now we're referencing behave 1020. And let's move put down to the bottom of the list. Then we commit. And we save. This time I'm going to do a fixed integrity operation. This way I know that each anim has the correct. Yeah, see, that's what it was. If you hit fixed TGI, it wasn't giving it an it wasn't assigning the offset or the size. I think that's the issue. But while we're here, let's fix this. So we know that this is adding to the left hand. We know that slot 9 is the left hand. So we can go back and change these animations. So let's flip this because we made it for the right hand. And then for the other two here, let's flip hold and unflip point. And the same thing here, flip hold, unflip shout. As I said before, a lot of this is trial and error, so after fixing the anims the one time, flipping the flags, doing a fixed integrity, and then 2 times moving the GMDC for the flashlight, and 3 times articulating the hand pose, I finally got it to work. So let's test the object. Going to carry and shout. Just have my sim walk over here. Let's turn him at 45. So you can see when you click on the flashlight, it spawns in the Sim's hand and it plays the arm overlays that you choose. Give him a little bit of a face overlay so that he's shouting into the darkness. This would be a great prop for a horror story or search and rescue or basically anything. It's a fun little prop. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the lesson.